This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, Wisconsin gearing up for a big game this weekend as Iowa comes to the Kohl Center for the lone meeting between the two schools this season. Badgers 10-4 in Big Ten play. One game in front of the Hawkeyes. Wisconsin will come into the game off a blowout loss at Ohio State, while Iowa comes in having handed Nebraska just its fourth loss of the season earlier this week. Despite the setback for the Badgers in Columbus, guard Nick Boyd still has high hopes for the squad.
I feel like we got a team that, could do some special things, and, we still striving. And, the beautiful thing about this team right now is, like, we got ways to go on defense in terms of being connected and really shutting teams' water off. So, we keep putting this offensive output and keep tightening up that defense. Who knows?
Guard John Blackwell agrees.
When the offense is fun like that and we're playing like that and we're sharing the ball, that's Wisconsin basketball. That's who we are.
Again, it'll be Wisconsin-Iowa coming up on Sunday afternoon at the Kohl Center. Tip is set for 3 o'clock. Turning the Bucks, they are getting back together and headed for New Orleans. It's where they'll take on the Pelicans tomorrow to open the second half of the season. Milwaukee won 4-5 before the All-Star break, sits in a tie for 11th in the Eastern Conference.
At a time when children are in crisis, the Kids Mental Health Foundation envisions a future where mental health is a vital part of growing up. And support starts with all of us. At home, at school, at practice, everywhere kids are. The Kids Mental Health Foundation is the leading organization promoting mental health for children in the U.S. and has free tools and information developed by experts.
Having those resources is the same as the CPR class to me. We're trying to save a life here.
Check out kidsmentalhealthfoundation.org to get started.
Well, the Brewers continuing to ramp things up out in Arizona as spring training hits full stride. They're going to actually get Cactus League play going on Saturday against the Guardians. And the Packers beginning the process of looking for their new special teams coordinator following Rich Bisaccia's decision to resign earlier this week. Also, NFL Combine taking place next week in Indianapolis. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
This is such a meltdown that doesn't need to happen because, first of all, if you look at a map, where the Bears are thinking of building, Wolf Lake is just basically like whoever drew up the borders back in the 1800s. If they just moved it a couple of miles east, it's still going to be in Illinois. Mm-hmm. So that's the biggest thing right there. So everybody's losing their mind about this. But at the end of the day, this deal, the Bears could have been in Arlington Heights, had shovels in the ground years ago if these politicians in Illinois stopped posturing, because that's really what this comes down to.
Yep.
It's semantics, it's posturing, it's the dumbest thing in the world. And then you have all these people just losing their mind, especially the Chicagoans. And I don't mean to insult most of my audience, but it's just one of those things where it's like, it's just semantics, because the NFL, as long as you're within 75 miles of your home market where your stadium is, you can claim Chicago or another market. And again, the White Sox, the Bears could go up to, I think as far as Sturtevant, they could build a stadium there and still say they're Chicago. But it comes down to there are certain people in the Bears fan base that just cannot handle something being, related to Chicago and it not being in Chicago. That's the whole issue.
I find myself disgusted at the games that are continuing. And maybe this is the way you have to do it in modern stadium politics.
This is where Wisconsin gathers to talk sports. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. The Wisco Sports Show is on the air. Now, here's your host, Grant Bills.
Some Bears Stadium audio. That's what I want to begin with tonight. That first little rant you heard is Todd Welter. He was on Bill's show earlier today. A former producer of Bill's, Todd the Llama, who did 10, 12 awesome minutes in hour number 3 today about some of the details of the stadium saga. This Bill and I were talking about it, and I saw Todd tweet. I'm like, I always feel bad reaching out to guests and being like, hey, could you come on in an hour? I feel bad texting guests morning of because, well, a lot of them say yes. It just kind of shows that, hey, I don't have anyone for today's show. When you ask, hey, Friday, what are you doing? It's like, I'm organized. Our show is booked up. But when I text people the morning of or the hour of, I texted Todd at noon. It's like, hey, we're talking about this Bears thing. Come on. Because he's a Chicago guy, does Locked On White Sox and writes for some different Bears and Chicago sports publications. So that little rant, I happen to agree with a lot of that. Matt Spiegel's voice from The Score in Chicago also in there. I want to start with a couple of minutes on this Bears Stadium thing because I find it interesting, which I find interesting that I find this interesting because if this were one of our teams, I would have been over this a year ago. There's nothing that interests me less than local municipality versus local team for land or for renovation. When they were going through the capital improvements that were needed at American Family Field, I got sick of talking about that so fast. We almost just didn't cover it on the show. But when it's another team and they're potentially crossing state lines, I actually find it interesting, which in and of itself, again, is something I find interesting. So I want to start there. I got a Packers thing for you tonight, a big Brewers discussion that I want to spearhead. We'll start that at 5. So we'll start hour number 2 with that. I want to give that plenty of space to breathe. And your thoughts and your calls, welcome throughout the program as well. It's 608-321-1670. It seems like the Bears to Hammond, Indiana actually has a lot of juice. I'll give you a little background here. I'll give you some details before I give you my take. First, a little bit from the Chicago Sun-Times, because there's a couple legal things that I find interesting in here. I'm finding a lot of things interesting today, if you haven't caught up on that theme. Indiana state legislatures sure seem to think that's where Chicago's football team is headed after taking another legislative step towards the state border Thursday, though the Bears stopped short of committing to pulling up stakes from Illinois. An Indiana House committee unanimously advanced legislation creating a stadium finance authority that would help the team build a dome in Northwest Indiana, a move that the team called, quote, the most meaningful step forward in a gridiron saga that has stretched on for more than 3 years. Can you imagine? I'm so glad this isn't our team and I don't have to talk about this. But it was also the latest step taken by the Bears to frustrate Illinois officials who signaled optimism at reaching a deal paving their way to Arlington Heights, a destination that Governor J.B. Pritzker, I think I say that, and other Illinois Democrats say remains within reach. Indiana House Speaker previously said he wouldn't call a vote on Bears legislation that passed the state Senate last month unless the team committed to making the eastward move. Hudson apparently heard enough to bring it to the Chamber's Ways and Means Committee, which passed the 24-0 during a jovial hearing that saw some officials, including Hammond Mayor Thomas McDermott, choke up at the prospect of landing a pro football franchise. No one from the Bears addressed the panel in person. Kevin Warren was supposed to be present at a meeting today. He no-showed. That's another wild part of this saga is Kevin Warren was brought into the Bears to specifically get this thing done, and it feels like they've gotten farther away and not closer. So Kevin Warren hired to work from the Big Ten. They almost lost a season because of it. Nobody likes him. So he moves to the Bears. First and foremost, it was always my understanding to help them secure a new stadium or to secure the necessary improvements needed at Soldier Field, and they seem farther away than ever. Or I guess closer today, but in seeming closer today, they feel farther away. You get what I'm trying to say. So that's a little bit from the Chicago Sun-Times. This is Adam Hoge from CHGO. It's the trendy thing when you're starting media companies today. Just have a word and take the vowels out. CHGO. This is Adam Hoge earlier today.
They have pivoted to Indiana. The pivot has happened. I mean, this is now it's not done. But it's close to done. I mean, they're at the half-yard line, and as long as they don't run any of those weird Matt Nagy shotgun runs and fail to get in, or maybe snap the ball through Cole Kmet's legs last year over the head of Kyle Mononga. As long as something weird like that doesn't happen, this thing is headed towards Indiana right now. If you watch this Ways and Means Committee meeting where they amended Senate Bill 27 in Indiana today, and it was 24-0, but it was everybody who spoke at this spoke as if it was done, including the speaker, as if the Bears are coming to Indiana. Now, the governor put out a statement, the governor of Indiana now I'm talking about, put out a statement basically saying, they still got the framework of the deal is there. It's a great deal for the Bears, so there really shouldn't be any holdups. I mean, that's one of the biggest difference is here between Indiana and Illinois is that this is a very team-friendly deal for the Bears. I was almost surprised to hear today them say that the Bears are going to put $2 billion towards this in Indiana. But if they are, that's even more reason for why this should get done, because that helps the state of Indiana on their end of all of this as well.
Okay, so there's another 20 seconds. I feel like we got the gist there. They're close, and the Bears are willing to put down billions towards the new stadium. This is something I learned listening to Todd Welter earlier on Bill's show, too, with Arlington Heights. The Bears were willing to commit billions of their own money towards the stadium in Arlington Heights. They were not expecting the state of Illinois and the taxpayers to foot the whole bill. What the Bears wanted help on was some of the infrastructure necessary, roads to get in and out, pipes, electric, like that sort of thing, which to me seems rather reasonable. In a perfect world, billionaire owners pay for everything. you and I both know we do not live in a perfect world. And it would seem to me a fair balance, or as fair of a balance as you're going to find in 2026, the way that governments and municipalities and the way the power is tipped towards the rich. If the team kicks in a couple billion towards a stadium, and the local government meets them halfway with infrastructure, it seems like everybody's coming out of, or more specifically, no one's getting completely and totally boned. That's why it stalled in Arlington Heights. And I noticed there in Adam Hoge's comments, like, the Bears are willing to commit some money towards the stadium. They want help on other things, which I think is reasonable. I find this situation fascinating because I like seeing what other people have to say about it. Some people, and let's just pretend that this is going to happen. Maybe it doesn't. Some of you might be listening. You might be a Bears person listening, and you're like, they're going to figure it out at the 11th hour with Illinois, and this is just leverage. Maybe, possibly. That's not really what I'm addressing here. I'm just kicking around the possibility of the Bears moving to Indiana and what it means. It's been, I got to stop saying interesting because I've already said it 100 times so far, and we're only 10 minutes into the show. I've been entertained reading tweets and reading reaction from NFL writers and people who cover the league, because to varying degrees, they're treating this like it's some awful bastardization of a cornerstone NFL franchise. And a lot of people are saying this sucks for fans in the city of Chicago. They're not going to have to travel to go see their team. And why that compels me, I was just in San Francisco for the Super Bowl. I was just there. And the unique situation of the Super Bowl was that the media center where all of the media was going on, all the television and radio shows, was in downtown San Francisco. The stadium is like 50 some miles to the south in Santa Clara. The media party was in Palo Alto. And there was one other thing, maybe it was the practice facility was in a different spot. So you have all of these different arms of the Super Bowl festivities at the Niners Stadium and in Palo Alto, and the media center's all the way downtown. There's 50, 60 miles in between some of these entities, and no one says boo. The Bears want to move, 20 miles to the east, just over the border of Indiana, and it's treated like some, again, unholy bastardization of a proud NFL franchise and the city that they're supposed to represent. Now, I understand that the Bears would be crossing a border, but don't the Jets and the Giants play in New Jersey just across the border? But I think people with that situation realize, well, New York City is massive. And in the East Coast, the way that some of those states are lined up, it feels like New Jersey is just kind of an extension. I'm a New Yorker, but I live in New Jersey. I ride the train in every day, right? I live in New York, but I work just across the border in Jersey. Right? I don't pretend. Big Ron might be a good resource on this. He's on multiple occasions in his calls just referred to his home of New Jersey as the world's largest suburb. It's just an extension of New York. Now, I don't spend a ton of time in Chicago, but I have family in Indiana that I've visited a handful of times over my life. I visited a friend who lived just outside Michigan City, right? If you go to the Indiana Dunes National Park down there, I've been around, let's just say the shoehorn of Lake Michigan. If you didn't see the sign that says you are now entering Indiana, and you ignored all the fireworks signs, because like Minnesota and Wisconsin, you can't buy fireworks in Illinois, but you have to cross over to Indiana. So like if you're up in Northwest Wisconsin, as soon as you come across the border into Hudson, Baldwin, Woodville, there's just fireworks stores everywhere. Baldwin, the exit for Baldwin is like a Quick Trip, a McDonald's, there might be a Culver's there, and there's a massive fireworks store on either side of 94. So if you ignored, again, the Indiana sign and the fireworks signs, you'd never know that you were leaving the greater Chicagoland area. So I don't understand. I'm almost predisposed here. My first instinct is to almost defend my Midwestern team, my Midwest, not my team, but my team that resides in the Midwest, because I don't like a Midwestern team being judged on different standards than the coastal teams. Why is it okay for the Jets and the Giants to play in New Jersey, but it's disgusting that the Bears are just on the other side of a border? Why is it okay that the Niners play 60 miles from the town they are named after, their namesake, but the Bears can't play 15 miles to the east of the city? Like, I guess I just want the standards applied to the coastal teams to be applied to the Midwest. Like I have a little, I'll come to a little bit of a Midwest defense of the Bears. It is funny as a Packers fan and as a Packers owner that it's come to this, and we can use this to poke Bears fans and to make fun of Bears fans. I think this is a worse look for the city of Chicago and for the state of Illinois than it is for the Bears. The Bears are just trying to get a deal. They're trying to, again, they're willing to commit a good pile of money to get the stadium built, and they need a municipality to meet them halfway to build a larger stadium district because, let's be real, the stadium that will be built is a dome stadium that's going to be used to host big-time events that'll benefit organizations, municipalities, and people outside of the Bears orbit. We're going to have concerts here. We're going to have massive events here. So why shouldn't the municipality kick in a little bit? Another interesting storyline is if I'm a taxpayer in the state of Indiana who's not a Bears fan, am I supposed to be jazzed up and jacked up that my tax dollars are now going to bring a football team here that I don't care about and that I don't cheer for? No, I think a lot of taxpayers in Northwest Indiana, again, an extension of Chicagoland, and you'd feel it when you drive through there. Like, there's probably a lot of Bears fans in there. I don't think they're moving out of Bears country. They're just crossing a state border. But when you cross borders, you're pulling from a different tax pool. So state taxes of folks that live down around Indianapolis or farther to the south are now going to be divvied up. I don't pretend to know all the details, but that is how taxes work. Like, would they be jacked about it? It's just a very twisted, complicated, very entertaining mess. If this was my team, there's no chance I'd be leading the show with this because I get so worn down on sports topics that are based around team versus government, team versus mayor, team versus government. I don't find that interesting. But when it's a rival, and they're possibly moving to Indiana, and they've been trying at this for 3 years. And they bought land in Arlington Heights, and the state and the city are dragging their feet on this. I think if the Bears move, it's more embarrassing for the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois than it is for the Bears themselves or for Bears fans. I don't expect you to have takes on this. I just noticed in the way that this was covered and talked about nationally by big-time football writers today, a little bit of a double standard. Like, we just didn't host a Super Bowl in Santa Clara where the stadium for the San Francisco 49ers is. Like, there's other teams that play across state lines. I just don't want the Midwest to be picked on in a way that we shouldn't already pick. Like, people complained about the NFL draft being in Green Bay because, I might have to stay in Appleton. I might have to stay in Manitowoc. I might have to stay all the way down towards Milwaukee, and I might have to drive an hour. You drive an hour from San Francisco to Santa Clara, but that's San Francisco. I don't like it. But it's funny that the Bears are going through this as a rival. I'll take your calls on this on the other side if you want. Otherwise, we're going to get right into Packers special teams. I want to share some reporting and some writing from Bill Huber today and attack it from some angles we didn't hit yesterday. A lot of Brewers talk coming tonight as well. It should be a fun, variety-filled show, and I'll get to your phone calls next at 608-321-1670.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
With Pella, you get so much more than stunning windows and doors. You get the Pella experience. Pella manufactures, sells, installs, and services every product. And with a 10-year labor warranty, your windows and doors are worry-free for years to come. If something goes wrong, we're here to handle it because you work with the same team from start to finish.
Right now, get 0% interest for up to 48 months.
Visit PellaWI.com today.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Again, it goes back to the Bears bought. I mean, and that's the Bears part in this whole issue was they went and bought the land in Arlington Heights, 324 acres, as Kevin Warren, their team president, loves to keep pointing out. It's the old Arlington racetrack for those that probably, maybe ventured down back in the day when I was there. They bought the land. The problem is they just bought the land. They didn't clear a tax deal with the Arlington Heights School District, for example. So then they just started using that is almost like a piggy bank. They actually valued the land, which the Bears tore down. It's just vacant right now. They did it for what it would be. So that really scared the Bears. So basically what the Bears did so backwards was they bought all this land without like a tax deal in place, without an infrastructure deal in place to even have a potential stadium. So then they hire Kevin Warren, the former Big Ten commissioner, to be the president of the team to basically get the stadium built, because he helped do it for the Minnesota Vikings. And he comes in and he's like, wait a minute, we have no leverage. We're not going to be able to even get infrastructure. What are we doing here? So what he's trying to do is he's just trying to drum up leverage to be able to build this stadium, because the Bears have committed. They will build this stadium on Arlington Heights. They just want infrastructure for the roads that needs to be done, and the piping and the sewers, and probably an expanded Metro stop. And they don't want Cook County or Arlington Heights to basically use that development as almost a piggy bank to just jack up their taxes.
A little bit more from Todd Welter. If this interests you at all, I tell you to go listen to the podcast, Hour 3 of Bill's show today. Todd does Locked on White Sox, does media in Chicago, writes for a couple different publications. He used to produce Bill, too. He's in our little rotating cast of characters who occasionally joins the show. Really good breakdown of, some of the breakdowns that have occurred between the Bears and the city of Chicago, state of Illinois. It's just been an engaging story to follow. If this is my team, we would have led with special teams, and we're going to get there in a couple of minutes. But first, a couple of texts and wide open phone lines if you want to jump in. I won't make you wait. 608-321-1670. Stout 82 guy says, Grant, San Diego Chargers fans have to drive 1.5 hours to SoFi Stadium, which is outside LA. I don't have a good frame of reference. I haven't been in LA in a couple of years. I've only been to LA once. It was in 2020. But you see SoFi right as you fly over. So I would have to look at a map to remember exactly where that is. SoFi is it's not way down or up in Oxnard. I don't even think it's down in Manhattan Beach. I think it's fairly central. The thing is they moved the team, the Chargers. It's not like they remained the San Diego Chargers who play games now in Los Angeles. They just moved the team. So that one's a little different. The fan base is still getting boned, but it's not boned under any sort of guise. It's just they're the Los Angeles Chargers now. Get bent. Jim in Cottage Grove says, I'm begging you, please don't tell me the curling scores. I have them DVR'd and I can't watch them until my wife gets home from work. Please don't ruin for me because I want to listen to your show. I would never. You think I would spoil curling? Jim in Cottage Grove, first and foremost, I've watched so much curling. I've forgotten when one match ends and the next begins. There's another match starting right now. In fact, I wish I could just end the show early so I could go watch curling. I will not spoil the hockey scores or the curling scores for you, Jim. You keep those DVR'd. I will say yesterday was a very good day of hockey. That continued today. So it's worth waiting if you can avoid spoilers. Watch it with your wife. You're a good husband. Kay Schmidt in Oregon. I'm a little surprised at your Bears take. As an owner, I'm sure that worthless piece of paper has been mocked at some point. Well, all those worthless pieces of paper somewhat help our team from moving or keep them from moving. We'll keep all those worthless pieces of paper. Just join us in making fun of the Bears fans for being the Indiana Bears, even if it isn't a big deal. It's fun. Real Kay Schmidt in Oregon. I mean, it is funny. Screw the Bears. Screw their fans. But, you know, that's what's funny is I tweeted something about this today. Kay Schmidt. I'll read you my tweet. I said, I'm kind of standing with my fellow Midwesterners on this. I said, I'm a Packers fan and owner, but I have to defend my fellow Midwestern team and point out that the Niners Stadium is much farther away from San Francisco than the proposed Indiana site is from Chicago. And I seriously have a reply to this tweet. Where is it? That's mocking I'm an owner with an eye roll emoji. Guy, my team isn't moving. The fact that I own a share of my team is the reason why I don't ever have to worry about this. So there's no helping some of these people. And even when I'm trying to support and stand up for the Bears and be like, look, it's not that big of a deal. There's coastal teams who pull crap like this all the time and we never get on them for it. But the Bears want to move 10 miles in one direction just on the other side of a municipality on a border. I get it. It's a different state, but it feels like the greater Chicagoland area. Like I'll defend my fellow Midwesterners a little bit. And someone who doesn't have much of a brain hops in my replies and my mentions like, oh yeah, you're an owner. Yeah, you guys still don't get it. You stupid idiots still don't get it. Even following this story today, your brain doesn't have enough connected wires to maybe make you understand and make you see why the ownership thing isn't a total crock. Look, it's a crock in the context that I use it. I wave it around. I talk about it like I'm Jerry Jones himself, which of course is not true. But to act like there's no meaning and it's completely and totally worthless. Hey, my team's not moving to Indiana due to the fact that, well, they can't because it's publicly owned. Now, you can mock the piece of paper that I proudly display in my frame. I'd tell you that it makes you a loser and jealous. Those who mock are those who don't have a certificate of their own to display. But man, like, even on a day like today, when the Bears are quite literally on the doorstep of moving to a different state, people's dumb brains will still be like, let's make fun of Packers owners. I can't help some of you people. They still don't get it. There's no helping some of you people. I wish I could. I wish I could politely and pragmatically make you understand. But if this doesn't make you understand, I don't know what ever will. I can't possibly fathom a way that you could understand the value of Packers ownership if you're not understanding it right now. I can't help you people. So thank you for the text and the tweets. I'm going to take this break a little bit early. We could switch to Packers on the other side of this break. Bill Huber has a good story out today at Sports Illustrated about some replacements, but more so than potential special teams replacements. I want to talk about how this came to pass, and I want to push back on an idea that I've seen pushed a little bit by Packers fans. Not to tell you that I know exactly what's going on behind closed doors, but I think some folks are getting it wrong. As we sneak out here, the 608 texter says, Wolf Lake is actually closer to downtown Chicago than Arlington Heights is. There's a township called East Chicago, further east than Wolf Lake. That's what I'm saying. It's just an extension of Chicagoland. And if you drive through there, it's abundantly clear. You'd never even know you're in Indiana if you didn't see the sign in all of the fireworks stores. Just on the same toll roads. You're a Packers owner. Look, brother, my team's not the one moving. If you had two sticks to rub together in that empty skull of yours, you'd understand why Packers ownership actually means a little something. Does it mean the obnoxious thing that I'm implying? No. Clearly, I'm not Jerry Jones or Ziggy Wilf or Martha Ford or John Merrick. Duh. Hey, but my team's not moving across state lines, so what do you want? We'll talk Packers special teams, some reporting from Bill Huber earlier today. That's coming up next.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 5 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 4 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
All right, we're back at it. I want to talk Packers special teams. We'll get into the Brewers at 5 o'clock. A new take, a new conversation, a new angle on the Brewers that I just can't wait to bring to all of you. So we'll get to that after 5 o'clock. I want to make sure we got plenty of space to breathe. Before we get to Packers special teams, I do have to read a text. One final thought on the Chicago conversation. Rick from Spencer, very loyal listener. Rick, appreciate the heck out of you. Says, the only way to know you're leaving Illinois is a road sign. It's all urban sprawl. I think that's why I couldn't live in Chicago. So I'm from the northwest part of the state. That is home to me. A lot of my friends and family end up then in the Twin Cities. So if I'm going to see friends and family, it's probably in Minneapolis or St. Paul, or it's in the western side of the state. Still plenty in La Crosse, Chippewa Valley, right? That thing. Number one reason I wouldn't want to live in Chicago is because it's too far. It's too far from that. It's like a 5-hour drive, maybe 6 up to the cities. I don't know. That's too far. I can't do that on a weekend. It's too far. I'd be too isolated. But spiritually, I don't think I could live in Chicago because I need to be able to drive, 20, 30 minutes and be out of it. I need to see the skyline disappearing behind me. You know what I mean? And that's true in Madison. And I'm not telling you that Madison's some massive city, although it's not insignificant. But one of the things you first notice about Madison, if you ever spend time here, it's the capital, the university. It's a big town. But you drive from any given point in the thick of things. If you drive the right way, you take 5-8 minutes in the car and it's cornfield. Like I lived on the east side, like just basically off the interstate, like at the very end of East Wash before it goes under 94 towards Sun Prairie. And if you go up just a little bit to the north of that, on the north side of East Wash, those neighborhoods back there, love it back there. Love the east side. You could drive 5 or 8 minutes and there's the field. There's the edge. I can get in my car right now for my work on the west side, go out the parking lot, down Watts Road, take it all the way down to where Mineral Point gets off the Beltline, and there's the edge. You can clearly see it. It's defined. Now, it's growing. You know what I mean? Like that, the city's very much expanding on the west side, but like there's the edge here, right here. And I can be in the rolling hills of Western Dane County, which are beautiful. I think that's why I couldn't live in Chicago, man, is because I don't mind being in a big city. I'm not anti-big city. But on a Saturday, like I don't want to have to drive 90 minutes to get out of it. And the reward of getting out of it in Chicago is like all of those towns whose names I can't remember, whose defining feature that breaks up a sea of green, flat in every direction is like, oh, there's the Honda factory where 7,000 people work and all of their cars are in the lot. And other than this building, it's corn and for miles and miles. And it would be one thing. I don't mind corn. I like corn. Great vegetable, great crop for our farmer. Can I have a hill or a tree, a lake, a small creek? Like that's why I think I couldn't do Chicago, is because it's all urban sprawl until you finally get to the edge. And then it's wasteland. Like with respect to rural Illinois, there's just nothing going on. There's not a hill, a creek, a coulee, a bluff, a valley, a river. There's just nothing. And don't call me and be like, Galena's nice. Yeah, but that's like on the other side of the state. Yeah, I'm not telling you all of Illinois is a dump. It's just, yeah. If I drive long enough, I'll get to Rockford. I don't know, man. They don't even have the clock tower anymore. Nothing has any meaning. I guess the phones are ringing on this, so we can push back the special teams conversation a couple minutes. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Grant Bills, how you doing, man?
I'm
talking
doing
about Chicago, so I got to call in. You know?
Matt in Cross Plains. Now, it's funny, Matt, you're calling in to discuss your sports hometown of Chicago, but also you live in Cross Plains, which I think is like a perfect touchstone for this conversation. A beautiful place just outside of the sprawl of Madison, where there's creeks and there's hills and there's a darling little downtown stretch. I love Cross Plains.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think I would ever want to live in Chicago. I'd have to live in like Evanston, close to Lake Michigan, where you gotta be a beach wanderer.
Sure.
In the summer. Kind of like Milwaukee too. Like they got the better part of Lake Michigan in Milwaukee. Obviously, it's not the end of it. like Chicago. So, but anyway, so yeah, I like the rolling hills of Cross Plains and, western Wisconsin like you, La Crosse and the Bluffs and
or even central Wisconsin. I've become quite partial to Marathon County in the last couple of months. I'm a fan. I might have to spend more time there.
Well, that's where I grew up. So, there's lots of woods up there too.
Where in Marathon County, may I ask?
Oh, I grew up in Mosinee.
Oh, okay.
Right between Wausau and Stevens Point. Stevens Point has the Schmeekley Reserve, which I think you would love. You can go fishing there, and I don't know if you can hunt there, but
I was in Rib Falls back in January. I kind of want to go back. Not that there's much to go back to, but
well, Rib Falls is nice, and then you got the Dells of the Eau Claire, which we've talked about before in that area. So, which is another nice little feature that nobody knows about, really. Not a lot of people know about it, but anyway. Well, hey, Cubs play tomorrow against the White Sox. Jamison Tyone on the bump. He'll probably pitch an inning, and we'll figure out what's going to happen with the Brewers too on Saturday.
Absolutely, so. Matt in Cross Plains. I appreciate the call. The Cubs favored to win the division, which I don't think is insignificant for certain offseason narratives that may have reached the Brewers clubhouse, which is what I want to talk about coming up at 5 o'clock. Let's take another call. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Grant, as a Phoenix local, I'm a big fan of urban sprawl. You're coming at my culture here.
See, here's the thing though. Your urban on the edge of your urban sprawl, if you drive towards Globe, you get to the edge of the metro and you have Gold Canyon with the beautiful Superstition Mountains. You have Camelback, which is just in the middle of town. You have some variance. You have some scenery. Again, I drive to the edge of Chicago and there's the Honda factory or the Amazon fulfillment center, and then it's just nothing. It's just flat, like a Minecraft world, like a super flat Minecraft creative mode world.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Different geographies all around the U.S.
Maybe it's a geography point. You don't mind the urban sprawl?
No, I think it's beautiful. Highways, strip malls that all look the same. Wide roads, small sidewalks, no bike lanes.
There is
my kind of place.
There is your city is very friendly to the American automobile, Cone.
Yeah, I mean, when a city is, major growth happens after the invention of air conditioning, why not build it around the automobile?
That's great.
That's American innovation.
Yeah,
come on.
You're correct. You were correct.
You ever been to Europe? They don't have air conditioning.
No, they do not. They also don't tailor their roads to the American automobile. And I guess why would they? They're not American, but everyone can walk everyone wants a walkable city. I want it to be walkable. Maybe a little.
Yeah, have you seen these new walkable cities that are popping up, like the 15-minute cities they're calling them?
Okay.
You only get a certain amount of passes, per year, per month, or however it works, that actually allow you to leave the boundary of the city. So very dystopian 1984-esque.
Is this what Mad Max was talking about when he called in? He was talking about smart cities. Is this the same thing?
Yeah, I think we're barking up the same tree here.
Okay. Well, now I want to look into this. Appreciate it, Cone. Mad Max was saying that Racine is a test project for one of these. I don't know how Racine could be. I can understand if you're starting a city from scratch, you could do it that way. But Mad Max did say those towns would basically be prisons, and what Cohen just described as prison. I love existing where I exist, but I got to go. I got weekends. I got a couple of days. If I have a couple of days without an obligation, I'm immediately scheming on where I can go. Where can I go? Where can I adventure? Who can I go visit? What can I go see? Get me out. And that's not because I don't like Madison. I love Madison. But I'm in Madison Monday through Friday and on a lot of weekends too. If I get a 3-day weekend, I'm thinking, what can I go do that I wouldn't be able to do if I didn't have 2 or 3 days in a row where I have no obligation? And I need that. Phoenix, it is maybe a geographical thing. I also think maybe there was some tongue-in-cheek commentary there from Cone. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Stephen Grant, this would be Tim from Sparta.
Tim from Sparta. Talk about rolling hills and beautiful scenery. My goodness.
Yeah, there's not many trout streams in the middle of Chicago.
No, there's certainly no Justin Trails. Where am I supposed to go disc golfing? Or where am I supposed to ride my bike? On the Elroy. They have no Elroy Trail in Chicago.
Well, down in Chicago, you can ride your bike, but you might be flat after a minute.
Yeah. Someone might knock you off your bike.
So having worked in Chicago in another lifetime for about 10 years, I got really familiar with Chicago. I normally hate big cities, but there were places that you could go to in Chicago and you were absolutely safe. And it was absolutely beautiful. Down on the lakefront, the museums down there, the Art Institute, Sears Tower, you could go shop till you drop. You had the Miracle Mile where even at 2 o'clock in the morning, you're out roaming the streets there and you're absolutely safe.
Okay.
Now you can't do that.
I mean, Tim, do you like wandering the streets at 2 a.m.? This is the thing when people talk about big cities. It's like, you can't even go out at night. It's like, well, how late do you? My dad always said nothing good ever happens after midnight. I move that time back all the time. 10 o'clock rolls around. It's like, what have I not accomplished already that I'm somehow going to accomplish by staying out longer? You know what I mean?
Well, my children will all tell you that your father was correct because I beat that into them. But there were times when I needed a break from the country, and I would go in to Chicago and just do fun things. Go to the opera, go through the Art Institute, go through the Natural History Museum, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I hate big cities. But now I would never go to Chicago to do any of that. Wandering around at 2 a.m. in the morning will get you killed.
Well, maybe it should. Maybe it's like a Darwinism thing. Like, stop wandering around at 2 a.m. Go to bed. Go to bed, Tim.
Now, I do that now because I'm old.
No.
But back in the day, there were things things to do and places to go, and it didn't stop at the sun.
Well, that's true. And back then, you didn't need to lock your doors either. Sure, I'm sure. Tim from Sparta. I have never lived in a big city. I've lived close to Milwaukee, but never in. I suppose the biggest city I've ever lived in is Madison. But I mean, shoot, why do you people? You can't even walk around at midnight in the street in the dark anymore. Is that a big selling point for a lot of you folks? Is that? I can't live there. What if I want to go for a walk at 2:15? Like, what are you? Go to bed. Ugh. Even in lacrosse, when I went to college there, like, stay out to bar close. But even those rare times we'd make it to bar close, because I was never one of those people, we're going out, we're staying until bar close. Those people annoyed the hell out of me in college. We're going to stay out until we're no longer having fun. And then we're going to go home. And if that's at 10:45, great. And if it's 2:15, wow, what a night. We were all lined up and we had energy and the vibe was good. But I remember a couple nights, man, you walk home from the bars and you can just feel the discomfort in the air. The birds are starting to chirp. You're like, I should not be out here. I should not be out here this late. And that's in a town, again, that's very safe. No city's perfectly safe at 2 a.m. And again, they shouldn't be. Go to bed. Tyler in Massachusetts on the live stream. I'm glad you commented this, by the way. He says, wait until the Fish fans invade Madison. Yes, we learned that Fish is coming to Madison to the Kohl Center in July. I actually have that on my rundown. Why don't we talk about that next? Because the Summerfest lineup is out. I thought, because it's a slow sports week, maybe we could talk about some of those announcements. Oh, and also at 5 o'clock, don't worry. We'll get hardcore into the Brewers. We'll sink our teeth into a real sport. We'll do a real hour, an honest-to-goodness hour on sports between the Brewers and the Packers. The show's taking some turns. Far be it from me to try to grab the wheel and wrench us back onto the road. We'll be back in 3 minutes. I do want to talk about Fish coming to Madison. I have takes.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Shakedown Street for Fish, it's going to be slow moving, but a bunch of guys tripping balls and asking you for money. The question is, where is it going to be? I don't know. It will happen. I'm telling you, it will happen.
Parking lot along the tracks is private property.
Do you think they care about that, RJ?
No, I know they don't, but like,
we're on stolen land, RJ. Well, they don't care. They're going to post up right there. Like you say, no one is illegal selling nitrous balloons on stolen land, okay? Karma.
Very funny show segment. That was Ebo and RJ this morning on Over the Line. We got a couple concert announcements earlier today. Could interest some of you, could interest all of you. First, we have the Summerfest lineup. I have some thoughts. But I'm more interested in Fish coming to the Kohl Center this summer. I read from the Badgers website directly. Fish has unveiled plans for their Summer 26 tour, and the band will be making a stop at the Kohl Center in Madison for a pair of shows. The 2-night stand will include shows on July 7th and 8th, marking the first time Fish has performed in Madison since 1998, which blows my mind. They haven't played in It's like saying this is the first time Ben & Jerry's has been sold in Vermont since 1997. Doesn't make any sense. A ticket request period is now underway. Blah, 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 blah. They have an About Fish. Widely recognized among live music's most beloved and inventive artists. Fish has played over 2,000 shows since their formation, regular selling out multiple nights at arenas, amphitheaters, and stadiums across North America. Halloween extravaganzas, blah, 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 blah. Okay. I should like Fish. We discussed this on Over the Line this morning. I should like Fish. And I don't. And I don't understand why. Well, I do understand why. I think it's because Fish sucks. I'm not saying they have good songs, some, and they're good musicians, and they put on a great show. But I still think they suck. And I don't know that there's another band doing it like them and has been doing it like them for so long. But I still think they suck. Like we were talking about this morning again. I like Sneakin' Sally Through the Alley. I like Robert Palmer's version better, but whatever. I like Bouncing Around the Room. I like To Step Into the Freezer. Don't get me wrong. Divided Sky. Who among us hasn't seen a higher power when listening to that song? I don't even know if it's the fans. I just think they suck. The band, but they don't suck, but they do. Am I making myself clear? Probably not. I don't think that we don't need to jam band every band. Now, Fish is fine. The Dead is fine. Goose is fine, I guess. What my bone that I had to pick, Ebo hit this morning too, is I really like Billy Strings. because I really love bluegrass music. I think bluegrass music is like baseball. When the bluegrass music is good, I don't know that anything is as good. I think it's the best of all the things when it's good. When it's bad, it can suck just like anything else. But top-notch bluegrass is just about as good as anything. And I think Billy Strings and his band are as good as any they're unbelievable. And because Billy Strings is such a good, generous man, he entertains the hippies and the hangers-on that go from show to show, stoned out of their minds, spinning in the pit, getting in everyone's way, grilling grilled cheese sandwiches on their radiator like Phil Leotardo out in the parking lot. Just play bluegrass song. But all right, I'll tolerate a couple jams. We don't need to jam band everything. A couple of acts at Summerfest. The headliners are Megan Maroney, Don Tolliver. I'm not familiar with Karin Leon. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Ed Sheeran, which I think is getting lost in all this. This is a massive act. It's like, Summerfest lineup sucks. Well, I don't know, man. One weekend as the middle weekend as Ed Sheeran, Cody Johnson, Post Malone. As far as headliners go, it's hard to do better than that. You could do better, but that's it's packing a lot of punch. Muse, Alex Warren, and Jelly Roll with Tyler Hubbard. Can I just do the Tyler Hubbard? Could I just take that portion? I would just prefer Florida Georgia Line, I guess. Garth Brooks is the big time headliner to begin. A couple of smaller acts. I would see Tash Sultana again. Tash Sultana. I saw Tash at the Sylvie. Really good show. I would go see Tash Sultana. I would go see Flip Turn on the opening weekend. Christopher Cross is there. I'd probably go see Christopher Cross. The second weekend doesn't have as much. I mean, Russell Dickerson would be a fun show. The Revivalists would rip. The Marcus King Band. I have Marcus King Band takes 2. What am I getting? Am I getting the first 2 albums, Marcus King Band? Or am I getting the Dan Arbach polluted Marcus King? Dan Arbach does not need to produce every artist under the sun. I am not a fan of the Dan Arbach pipeline. We have good artists who do good work. And then they're like, I guess now is the time for me to go make a record with Dan Arbach. Ugh. What if we made it a little more edgy? What if instead of just an awesome bluesy Southern rock, Marcus King Band, the first 2 albums were lovely. Some of those songs were just the balls. And then Marcus King gets there, or Marcus King and Dan Arbach get in there. It's like, what if we just made this worse? We just add some fuzz. And I know you're singing about like abstract concepts. It's bluesy and it's great. And there's Allman Brothers and there's jazz in there. But what if we just sang about how being a hard working man at the honky tonk? So it depends on what version of Marcus King we're getting. I'd go to that. Other than that, man, I'm not telling you the lineup's bad. Because here's the thing, you can always go to Summerfest and just drink beer and walk around and find guys that are awesome, find bands that are great. Bo Dean's, that's a banging band. But there's not a ton where I'm like, I need to get there because of that. If anyone wants to take me to see Garth Brooks, I suppose I would go. That concludes our Summerfest and Fish portion of the show. We can get into Packers special teams, but really I want to do a hard, fast reset on the Brewers. I have a question. I have a topic. I think this is going to be a theme throughout the Brewers season. I'd like to begin the ball rolling tonight. This is an important segment. We're gonna be circling back to this topic. I'm excited to discuss with this. So we'll do this next. But first, a 2-minute update from Zach Heilper. No commercials, just the latest in Wisconsin sports. Hold it right here. I'll be right back.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Brewers are settling in out in Arizona for spring training. It's day 3 since the entire team has been on the field for workouts. That includes outfielder Sal Frelick. He had a breakout year for Milwaukee last season, setting career highs in batting average, hits, and runs scored. Also nearly doubled his RBI total. So you can imagine he was excited to get back to work this spring, especially after getting swept out of the playoffs by the Dodgers.
Every year is a motivator, right? Every year you don't win. And I've been fortunate enough to have been in the league for 3 years and play in the playoffs for 3 years. So each year I feel like I just learn more and more from those experiences. And even this one, having, advanced around and in the past 2 years, having lost in the wild card. So like, you just learn more and more, and you just try to build on it.
Milwaukee going to get Cactus League play going on Saturday against the Guardians, turning to the Packers. They have started their search for a new special teams coordinator in the wake of Rich Bisaccia stepping down earlier this week. Coach Matt LaFleur's challenge going to be finding someone after turnovers already taken place. Whoever's hired going to be the fourth special teams since LaFleur took over as head coach in 2019.
At a time when children are in crisis, the Kids Mental Health Foundation envisions a future where mental health is a vital part of growing up, and support starts with all of us, at home, at school, at practice, everywhere kids are. The Kids Mental Health Foundation is the leading organization promoting mental health for children in the U.S. and has free tools and information developed by experts.
Having those resources is the same as the CPR class to me. We're trying to save a life here.
Check out kidsmentalhealthfoundation.org to get started.
Wisconsin back on the floor today as they prep for a visit from Iowa coming up on Sunday. Badgers got blown out the last time they were on the court down at Ohio State. Still projected to be an 8 seed in the NCAA tournament with less than a month to go until Selection Sunday. It's against the Hawkeyes set for 3 o'clock. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update from Zach Kyle.
I find myself disgusted at the games that are continuing. And maybe this is the way you have to do it in modern stadium politics.
This is where Wisconsin gathers to talk sports. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. The Wisco Sports Show is on the air. Now, here's your host, Grant Bills.
A couple of follow-up texts and comments on that last segment. First of all, Adam and Edgar chiming in on my recent acquired taste for Marathon County. Says, you got to go back up to Rib Falls in the summer and find the rope swing for the creek and take a jump off the falls. Also, the bar next door is really good. Yeah, is that the one bar next to the one bridge? Is that the one? Cone Roller says, what has been your best Summerfest concert? Is Fish pricing out their fans like Dead & Co? Imagine most of the Fish heads are on a fixed income these days. My best Summerfest concert, it used to be Mount Joy, which was very good. Very pleased with that experience. Last year, it was kicked. It was toppled by Billy Currington. That was probably the best night of my 2025. It was just, I have no words to describe how much fun that was. I think Summerfest, when you can nail it, there's nothing better. When you get a group of friends and there's a headliner you want to see. Let's say you want to see, the Tom, Dick, and Harry band Saturday night and they're playing at 10:30. When you and your friends get to Summerfest on that Saturday at 5 or 4 or whatever, and you spend the evening, maybe earlier, and you spend the day walking around, you get some food. When you pull it off, meaning no one gets too drunk, no one gets too tired, no one gets sunburned, no one wants to leave. When you get to the headliner after a day of camaraderie and drinking and summer, just being outside, when you thread that needle, it's awesome, but it's hard. It's not for the weak mind. It's not for the, you all have that friend or that person where they have a couple of drinks and they're like, I'm tired. You can't take those people anywhere. It's not that they black out, although they're those people too, and they're a different type of problem. The worst is the people who can't drink and stay awake, which is hard on a hot summer day, and the act's not coming on until 10:30. Thank you for the text, Cone. Appreciate it. There's also Marcus King Band discourse going on live stream. His first 2 albums are as good as anything I've ever, honestly. I listen to them all the time. I'll go for a couple months without listening to them. I'll go back to them and be like, yep, this still is the balls. It's still great. It's awesome. And then he started working with Dan Arbach. It's like, what if we made this worse? And instead of beautiful singing and playing, the whole record just sounded like what if it just sounded like that? That was the whole goal. All right. I think we're caught up. I want to talk about the Brewers. Just hard reset here. Something I've been thinking about, something I've been kicking around, because I've been paying attention to the clips and the audio that has been sent to us from spring training so far, and we're less than a week in. But Mike Clemens gets his mitts on some comments from Bryce Terang and sends it up. He gets his mitts on Pat Murphy availability, so we're listening to question and answers on this and that and the other thing, right? And, of course, the Brewers post content as well. And I saw this clip was trending. It's a Murphy locker room speech, clubhouse speech, that's edited over some highlights and some fun. So you're going to hear some dramatic music, but really what I want to focus on here is the comments from Pat Murphy and the content. Just focus on that. So it's not that hard to do. You can hear the words, but like, I'm not playing this for the music. I'm not playing. There's a video component too, but just listen to what Pat Murphy has to say here. The Brewers official account put this out kind of right away at the beginning of spring training.
Call us whatever you want, underdog. Call us whatever the hell you want. We found out what matters is who's in this room. What we got in this room, we can do anything we want. We're about people, we're about team. Wherever you're from, whatever color you are, whatever you believe in, as long as you want to commit to winning baseball. Not Major League Baseball's way of saying, on paper, this team is this. We don't care. This is who we want to become. We got to pitch, we got to face run, we got to defend, play offense. That's how we do it. And we don't worry about what anybody thinks. We stick to our standards, and you'll have it covered. Incredible season. And don't be shocked.
Don't be shocked. Right, the spirit of those Pat Murphy comments, not that different from some of the things that we heard all throughout last season, right up into the series against the Dodgers. They're in the NLCS, and Pat Murphy's playing the underdog card, talk about no one believes in us. We actually kind of suck. We actually kind of stink. Now, this offseason, the Brewers can claim and the Brewers can say nobody believes in us. Nobody's picking us because they're not favored to win the division. The Cubs are. And I haven't looked at the PECOTA projection. I can pull them up. I've heard them referenced, but why don't I give you the actual projections for 2026? So it's through Baseball Prospectus. I was looking at DraftKings Sportsbook, and they had the Cubs favored to win the division. I think most do. Are you kidding? You got to pay for the PECOTA projections now? PECOTA standings? You got to pay for this now? Oh, it breaks my heart. Well, I guess here we go. As of 2/19/2026. I just had to click something else. So in the NL Central, they have Chicago projected to win 90. The Brewers, the Pirates at 80. The Reds at 78. The Cardinals at 66. So just using Baseball Prospectus, just using PECOTA, the Cubs are basically expected to run away with this division, 90 wins, and the Brewers are projected to, win the same amount of games as the Cubs. Now, if it will allow me to pull up DraftKings division odds here, I'll try to give you that too, just so we can cross-check it against one other source. I'm not trying to cherry pick stats. I'm not trying to cherry pick anything here. Playoffs divisions. Here we go. The NL Central, the Cubs are plus 120. The Brewers are plus 240. The Reds plus 370. The Pirates plus 800 and the Cardinals plus 3,000. So DraftKings has them a little closer. PECOTA has them about 10 games apart, which to me, that's a runaway winner. You win the division by 10 games. That's a runaway winner. Simulated wins of almost 91. The Brewers sitting at 80. Same with the Pittsburgh Pirates. So look, the Brewers have reason this offseason, and Pat Murphy has reason this offseason to say, can you believe it? We won 97 games last year. And we're by and large the same team. Yeah, they traded Freddie Peralta, but the year before they lost Willie Adames, and the year before that they lost Devin Williams. The year before, this is a run-of-the-mill year for the Brewers. It's not like their franchise and their core and their roster has been rocked to the core. Pat Murphy can look at his clubhouse in good faith and say, nobody thinks we're going to do it again. Nobody believes in us. We have to keep proving them wrong. We are the underdog, blah, 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 blah. Like, he can play that card in good faith. I do wonder, however, at what point the Brewers go from being the plucky underdog story, the, snappy, snarky, nobody believes in us story, we're the regular Joes, we're playing against Pat Murphy didn't just downplay the Brewers' chances against the Dodgers. He'd do it against the friggin' Nationals. He'd do it against everyone. I wonder at what point are the Brewers going to transition away from being the aw shucks, nobody believes in us, average Joe's underdog story. I wonder when they transition away from that to we have arrived, we win divisions, and now it's we're coming for the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like, when does that change happen? When does that adjustment happen? Because the Brewers have won the division now every year since 2022, and then every year before that, minus the pandemic. Well, I guess they didn't win it in 19, but they won it in 18. They won it in 21, 23, 24, 25. And they made the playoffs in all of those other years with the exception of 2022. Like, I don't think anyone's doubting that the Brewers know what they're doing and that the Brewers are competitive and that the Brewers are winning divisions and giving themselves a shot in the playoffs. I want to know at what point this organization, voiced by Pat Murphy, makes a little bit of a switch from average Joes, regular Joes, underdog, nobody believes in us, to this is what we do. And it's high time we break through and make a World Series. Like, when is that switch coming? I told you yesterday, I want to hear Mark Attanasio say the words World Series. I understand that their model and that their strategy and what they do and why they do it, in his words, I understand it's working. I agree with it. I believe in it. I think it needs slightly better PR for the fan base, and I think clubhouse messaging matters. To hear the owner say, we are doing these things because we're trying to win a World Series, and this is the way that we can best try to do that. I think that messaging matters for the fans. I think the messaging from Murph matters for the players. I don't think it's a coincidence that Pat Murphy spent all of the days leading into the Dodgers series about how much better the Dodgers are. Oh my God, it's amazing we were even playing these games. We're not as good as the Dodgers. And then the Brewers looked like they believed they weren't nearly as good as the Dodgers. I just want to know, at what point does the messaging change from average Joe's nobody believes in us to we've shown that we can win the division. We've shown that we can make the playoffs. At what point are we going to break through and actually accomplish the main goal of winning a World Series? And I'm not telling them that this whole thing's been I'm not saying this whole thing's been a massive failure. Yeah, we'll grant they have made a World Series. Well, that's most of baseball. So this problem is a champagne problem, the best champagne. Oh, you're winning the division every year and you're in the NLCS, but you can't break through to the other side. Okay, well, most of baseball would kill to have that problem. So I'm not ripping the Brewers. I'm just wondering, at what point is a tweak in messaging maybe a good idea? Not a complete change, because I think Murphy needs to keep some of that edge. I think that's what makes this thing work. But a tweak in messaging, just a little change in messaging. I wonder if that's coming at any point, because it kind of feels like they're stuck in a cycle. 608-321-1670, Wisco Sports Show. Who's this? Excuse me.
Hey, Grant, long-time listener, Darnell.
Hey, Darnell.
Are you watching the same Brewers that I'm watching and consuming the same content that I'm watching?
I would imagine so.
Because I think that the reason why they can keep doing this underdog thing every single year, and don't get me wrong, it gets a little annoying, is because at the beginning of every season, they are the underdog. It doesn't matter what they did last year. I can't remember a time in my life when they were projected to be the division winner at the beginning of the season. I can't. So as annoying as it can get for them to go, oh, we've done this before and we've never, we never get the props at the beginning of the year. They really haven't.
I don't care. I would like them not to care. Why do they need in that clubhouse? All they do is win the division. We heard Christian Yelich, at the beginning of last season or the year before, say, nobody ever expects us to good, and we always are, right? Because we're the Brewers. Like, they know in that clubhouse. So why do they need the national media? Why do they need Ken Rosenthal to go on television? Or why do they need, Baseball Prospectus to tell them something they already know?
I kind of always thought the underdog thing was like a way to light a fire under Mark, the owner, just a little bit, where if you say that kind of thing enough, like, we're the average Joes, our average second baseman is worse than every other second baseman in the division, and our average, you know what I mean? Like, saying stuff like that on a regular basis, the way Pat Murphy did last year, I thought that was kind of a little bit of a, hey, maybe spend some money a little bit.
Sure.
I don't know, but
shame. Like, it's shame. Like, I'm gonna talk smack about the crummy roster you've given me so much to the point where you don't, where it's, and Pat Murphy's so media savvy and everybody loves picking all this crap up to the point where Major League Baseball is comparing them to, a scene from the movie Dodgeballs, Average Joe's. I don't think I've ever seen it. Yep. Maybe.
I just, again, the Brewers are a fantastically run organization, and we're absolutely nitpicking when we're talking about this kind of stuff, because this stretch of 15 years of baseball is probably the best 15 years of their franchise, right? Not even probably, definitely the best 15 years in this franchise. And it's great to win divisions. I really, truly enjoy every September having something to play for and, being excited to watch the Brewers and all this. I can't get overly mad at them for not performing in the playoffs because it's such a long season and it has there's so much to get excited about in June and July and August, right? And then September baseball is pretty cool. I'm just saying, I know they want to get over that hump, but it's sometimes it's not about the destination, it's about the journey a little bit.
So I'm not against you here, Darnell. I'm going to cut you out. Let me ponder here. Let me think a sec. I'm not against you. I think the journey is important. But the journey in most of these years has not been like, ooh, they had a fun winning streak in June. Or they had a great weekend series against the Dodgers in April. They've won the division. They won 97 games last year. And they were in the NLCS. And part of me wishes that series would have been like a contested 6-game series, because had it been, I just wonder what the way that the Brewers lost to the Dodgers was such a kick in the seeds to so many Brewers fans. It almost seems like that loss was so bad. It's caused Brewers fans to forget how close they were last year. Like last year was the most successful year they've had since 2018. And most Brewers fans are acting like they're farther away than ever, which I don't get. I see a lot of comments on the live stream. Like this one's from Thomas. It says, it's like flipping the air cleaner on your 305 Camaro thinking you are going to win the Daytona 500. Mark says, Grant, as long as MLB doesn't have a salary cap, the Brewers and all small market teams will be underdogs. Folks, don't apologize for your team's success. They've been beating the Cubs' ass like a drum since 2018. They've owned this division, and they've consistently won a pile of games, even when their roster isn't stacked, even when they're not awesome. This team's good. You can treat them like they're good. We can act like they're good. They're good. I'm not telling you that they should be in the World Series every year. What my question is, how many years in a row can you win the division? And how many years in a row can you overperform expectations? And how many years in a row can you be good before you start acting like you're good? You know what I mean? Like the Badgers Final Four team, the second Final Four team, the one that went to the national championship, the team showed up knowing that they were good. They carried themselves like they were good. We're expecting to win these games. We expect to be right back where we were last year, but this time we're going to win. And that's how they carried themselves. I realize that the 2025-26 Milwaukee Brewers, or the 26 Milwaukee Brewers now, the 26 Milwaukee Brewers are not as good as that team. I understand. But folks, after a while, how many division titles do you have to win? How long do you have to just beat and pound and abuse the Reds and the Pirates and the Cubs before you can start carrying yourself and speaking like the messaging is the most important part to me? When can you start talking like you expect more? When can we start talking about ourselves like we're not the plucky underdog that we need to prove to the national media how good we are? Because who cares? All we do is win divisions and we get in the playoffs. When are we going to start when are we going to carry ourselves like winners? Because they are. And maybe it can't be Murph, because maybe Murph's thing and maybe the Brewers thing only works when we're playing the underdog card. It's powerful. I get it. But at a certain point, like Sal Frelick, I want him in front of the clubhouse saying, guys, I've been here how many years? And we've been in the playoffs and we've been close. And at a certain point, like, it's not about playing the underdog. Like, we're the effing Milwaukee Brewers, and we've been winning this division and running this division. And it's about time we broke through. At a certain point, the underdog regular Joe's messaging it just starts to wear thin for me. I love Murph. He just signed an extension. We learned from Ken Rosenthal. He's back for at least 3 more years. Love him. Very entertaining. He's great at what he does. I would appreciate a tweak in messaging. That's all. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
I won't fight you on the messaging, Grant. I'm also not even a huge baseball fan, but
Correct.
If there's one thing I love doing, it's about arguing sports and building of rosters. Grant, why haven't you bought a house yet? People in their 30s, by the time they hit 30, everybody had a house in 1980. Why don't you have a house yet?
I don't know where I want to live. I just can't pick out the neighborhood.
Yeah, you are a little bit unique in that sense. But 2018, right? Highest paid player in the league, Mike Trout. I think you made $34 million that year.
Mm-hmm.
We have multiple players across the league earning $100 million in a season. Juan Soto and Shohei cracked that last year. And going into this year, there's a bunch more. I do think the economics of baseball are awesome. I will just pose that as the one reason. You asked, why do we feel further away than we did in 2018? It's because of the extreme way these teams are being built and the extreme investment at the top end. I'm not excusing the bottom end, and I think the bottom end needs to invest more to catch up rather than limiting the top end. That's kind of where I sit on that whole argument, right?
Mm-hmm.
But why do we feel further away? It's because these super teams on a per team basis, or like how many times more money are they spending than the Brewers? It's just really risen astronomically over the last 4 seasons. That is the biggest difference between 2026 and 2018. That's all I got for you.
So that's true, Vagabond John. It's a fine call. Look, I'm not telling you they're as good as the Dodgers. I'm not telling you they're as good as the Dodgers. It's a messaging thing for me. You can only win the division and outperform expectations and be good so long before the whole average Joe's thing starts to, it's ceasing to play in my eyes. It's entertaining. I love Murph. I want him to adjust his slant a little bit. One more call here, then we'll go to break. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, Grant, it's Coach Freed here.
Hey, Coach Freed. How's it going?
I'm doing well. It's been a while.
It has been. We've been busy in your community, I'm sure.
Yeah, kind of just utilizing 94 here and there. Really just embracing myself in that culture. But
yeah,
I wanted to come on the line to break some news to you.
Okay, hit me.
I don't know if this has been discussed yet, but Murphy has just signed an extension per our good friend Bob Nightingale.
Now, I didn't see John Heyman tweet it. I saw Ken Rosenthal, but I ignored it because I only respect the news broken by John Heyman or Bob Nightingale. I'll take it. This was his last year under contract, right? I thought maybe he'd want to step away to watch his son play T-ball.
No, I mean, he's committed, and it's ironic that this happens right after we were talking about how he needs to find a new slant.
Do you disagree with the idea that he does need to find a new slant?
It works. If it ain't broke, why fix it, kind of thing.
It does work.
It works to a point. It works to a point.
But my question is if you try to tweak the, like Pat Murphy's approach is like, dude, get to first. And I think that's why it works. And if he has to change his approach from, all right, now we can get to first, let's win a World Series, do they cease to be able to get to first, which means they stop being good? You know what I mean? That would be my concern.
Yeah, I get you. I mean, going into the playoffs, I was concerned that if they were even going to win a playoff game. So I think he's doing all right. He's the man for the job.
I mean, I don't doubt that. Appreciate it, Coach Freed. I'm just up against it. I don't doubt he's a man. I'm a big Pat Murphy fan. Just a little tweak. Just a little adjustment in messaging. That's all. I'll take more of your thoughts on this. Get to some of your texts as well on the other side. 608-321-1670.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Call us whatever you want. Underdog, call us whatever the hell you want. We found out what matters is who's in this room. What we got in this room, we can do anything we want. We're about people, we're about team. Wherever you're from, whatever color you are, whatever you believe in, as long as you want to commit to winning baseball. Not Major League Baseball's way of saying, on paper, this team is this. We don't care. This is who we want to become. We got to pitch, we got to make strong, we got to defend, play offense. That's how we do it. And we don't worry about what anybody thinks. We stick to our standard, and you'll have it covered. Incredible season. And don't be shocked.
That's Pat Murphy. Again, I just wonder at some point, can we tweak that messaging a bit? How many times you got to win the division? How many times you got to find yourself in the postseason before it's like, we just expect to be good? That's the standard here. We're good every year because we know what we're doing. Lots of teams don't. And it's time to go to the next level and not just be the plucky underdog team that overperforms. And I don't say that, and I don't word it that way to minimize what they did last year because they almost won a franchise record in games, and they went to the friggin' NLCS. So I'm not just saying, oh, it was a cute year, nice year. No, I'm not minimizing that, but I wonder at a certain point, the more times you win the division, the more times you make the playoffs, if you tweak your messaging from nobody believes in us to we're the friggin' Milwaukee Brewers. Like, we're going to win a World Series. I also got to point out about the assumed upcoming labor dispute, and I don't mean to downplay and say that it's probably going to happen. I am disheartened at how many people are like, yeah, I'm ready for a lockout if that's what it takes. That's what it takes to get a salary cap. Folks, I think that would be a step in the right direction, but I think the most likely scenario is we miss a ton of baseball, maybe a full season, and we come out the other side with some nice language and like, oh, they did this and that, but the cheap owners are still going to find a way to be cheap, and the really rich owners are going to still find a way to spend a lot of money. I don't think there's some Garden of Eden solution on the other side of missing a whole year. And also, can I just jump out and say, I don't want to miss a whole year. I don't have the appetite for that. I don't know what I'll do with myself in the evening. And also, look at what I do for a job. There's some of you who are bored out of your skulls when there is a baseball game every day. And the team's been good. Like, if we were White Sox fans or Pirates fans, dude, sure, lock it out. Who cares? Lock it out. Just take me out of my misery for a year. That's fine. The team's good. Although if the Brewers are off next year, I'm going to become evening activity guy. I'm going to find a sand volleyball team. I'm going to golf a lot more. Curling. That's more in the winter, though. God, I can't wait for the show to be over so I can go home and watch curling. So much curling to watch. 608-321-1670. Jared in DeForest says, I think I lean more your way, Grant. After nearly 8 years of conference dominance, using the average Joe's mantra becomes a cop-out mindset. A rallying cry, sure, when we play well, but it's also an easy scapegoat mentality when we aren't playing well. We should tweak it slightly. We don't work and play hard because we need to compete. We're great because of how hard we work and play. Yeah. I also wonder, is Pat Murphy's strategy, is his outlook, is it tweakable? Is there a way that he can, let's word it simply to make this conversation easy. Pat Murphy's mantra is get to first, right? I think I'll play you that cut here. Hold on. I played it during Bill's show earlier. This is Pat Murphy, number 3. This is just this Pat Murphy to kind of set up. This will help me explain what I'm explaining.
I mean,
if he's asked about if there are positions where starters are settled or if there's competition at every spot.
I mean, I'd like to say everywhere, but we've got some guys that have the right it factor. That what we have to do is keep them hungry. Like they've established themselves, they've been through it. Now, how do you stay hungry? How do you keep that fight like never before on the basic things and not let your own personal career get involved with how you're going to play the game? Because oftentimes, hey, if I hit a few more home runs, I get paid a little more. And if I do this, I can be considered for, And it's like, bro, look, this is how you were. This is why you're a winning player. Get to first. You know what I mean?
So that strategy, that whole idea, is that tweakable or is that an all or nothing approach? Does it have to be bare bones? Like I'm a college coach. Is it the only way that it works with Pat Murphy? Or is there a breathing room? Is there the possibility or the ability to level up just a little bit? You know what I'm saying? Sorry, if you were just trying to call in, I hung up on you. I didn't mean to. Call back. I'll get you on if you want to talk Brewers. I wonder if this Pat Murphy strategy of get to first, is that tweakable or is that an all or nothing endeavor?
Career get involved with how you're going to play the game. Because oftentimes, hey, if I hit a few more home runs, I get paid a little more. And if I do this, I can be considered for, And it's like, bro, look, this is how you were. This is why you're a winning player. Get to first. You know what I mean?
So I don't need them to change the way they think about baseball. I just want the messaging to change a little bit. And I think you can risk a sense of entitlement there. You can risk a malaise. If the mantra is we're going to win a World Series instead of win tonight, I get that. I understand that you maybe run a little bit of a risk there. I don't know. I just wonder if this underdog mentality can't just be tweaked. Just changed a little bit. Johnny Cribbage says, hitting number 9 for the Dodgers at third base with 30 home runs. A guy that 20 teams can't sniff. Yeah, I understand. I understand. I get it. I think what's funny is the economics of baseball's probably never been in a worse spot, but the game of baseball feels like it's in a better spot right now than it's been in my entire life. At least that I can remember. You talk about the 90s, the home run chase, which is steroided up. But it feels like the game is in an awesome spot. The last couple of World Series have been awesome. You have stars in big markets. But again, that goes back to the economics. You have the top 1% of players getting massive deals. And then a bunch of really good baseball players feeling like they're stuck in perpetual one-year pillow deals that take until friggin' February to sign. Like free agency in football, free agency in basketball, those big names are coming off the board the first couple of hours. Teams can't wait to go out and sign these players. And in baseball, there might be a Juan Soto or a Shohei Ohtani. There might be a sweepstakes or two, but the rest of the guys are just sitting around with their thumbs up their butt, waiting because no team thinks they're worth it. We'll give, 10 years, $300 million to the best player in the world. But other than that, no, we'll piecemeal with a bunch of pillow deals. Yeah, we'll give you 1 year. If you prove it, maybe get a bigger contract next year, wink, wink. And then they don't get the bigger contract. So now they're going into next year with a 1-year pillow deal contract, trying to earn a big contract the next offseason. The economics of baseball probably never been in a worse spot in my lifetime. But the game itself, man, if they have a lockout, that's going to suck. They're going to kill a lot of momentum that's been building, I think, for the better part of 4 or 5, maybe even close to 10 years now. I think the game is in a great spot. The economics of the game, not so much. Thanks, Kai's Chevytown, our presenting sponsor. Be wise. See Kai's for the best buy. Some really good deals off 2025 models that they're looking to close out. $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 off certain 2025 models like Suburbans, Tahoes, Silverados. You need something bigger for the family. You need to haul something. You can see their inventory. It's updated daily. ChevytownUSA.com. They're a short drive from anywhere, right off 94 on the north side of Menominee. They've been doing business for 3 generations, treating people the right way. And if you're not in a market for a new ride like I was a little bit over a year ago, they can help you keep your current whip in tip-top shape, help keep it on the road so it'll last a long time. Their award-winning service department, always ready to service your vehicle. So you can schedule service online. And like I said, check out your inventory or their inventory updated daily. Even if you're just starting to go look for some ideas, maybe maybe you'll start to get a better idea of exactly what you want in a vehicle. ChevyTownUSA.com, BYC Kais for the best buys. We'll keep talking Brewers next.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 5 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 4 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
You got one more segment to kill here with your wonderful thoughts on the phone, whether it be the Brewers, the Packers, or, I mean, we just did 10 minutes on urban sprawl in the first hour of the show. So 608-321-1670. We'll talk with Ebo and Zach. They are positioning themselves at Monks and Sun Prairie, Thorson and Heilprin coming up from 6 to 7, so we'll connect with them. Let's take a call. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, Grant, it's Andy in Sun Prairie. How are you doing?
Speak of it, you're right over there in the neck of the week. You should stop by at Monks. Andy, I'm doing well.
I'm kind of on my way. Yeah.
Excellent.
Definitely going to do that. I thought of a really good way to link the last two things you were talking about. First, Murphy's going to keep ringing the scrappy underdog bell as long as the economics are like this, because we'll always be that until the economics of the game actually change. So the point is there's probably going to be a lockout at some point. And I think we need to start wrapping our brains around that right now, because for as much as I hate to say it, these economics aren't sustainable. I'm tired as a Brewer fan of being AAA Mets.
They won 97 games last year, Andy.
Yeah, but they keep sending our players other places because that's the place to be.
When they're 29, when they're over the hill, when they're not, after their prime has been, you know what I mean?
Is over the hill.
I think his best years are behind him.
The greater point.
Well, let me ask you this, Andy. Okay, it's not the question whether or not he's over the hill. It's do you want to give him the deal he's about to get? Do you want the Brewers to give him that deal? Do you want the Brewers to spend more? That's separate. Do you want them to give Freddie Peralta 6 years, $150 million, or whatever he's going to get?
Economically, it doesn't make sense for the Brewers to do that because they can't afford to do that enough times for it to make sense.
Sure.
So they're going to continue to be this small market team. That's my point. The other part of it that bothers me is that, and maybe this is the question for the rest of your viewers or listeners, is would we trade 1 year of lockout in exchange for getting this fixed? Because at this point, I would. I'm in a place where I could pay for a 12-pack of Brewer tickets, and I want to, but I can't get myself to because I cannot see a team like this. And this kills me to say because I've been watching this team for 50 years, and I love them. But I can't invest in this team until the economics of the game allow us to get over the hill. And if we had to give a lockout that would allow us to fix the collective bargaining agreement or whatever the hell it's going to take to actually get some type of cost or some revenue sharing, the Brewers are always going to be where we're at. I mean, this is the best version of what the Brewers are going to be for a long time.
Well, they were.
That's my 2 cents.
So, and Andy, I'm not disagreeing with you. I think you are presenting the facts as many Brewers fans see them, and that's fine. I guess I just watched this team win 97 games, and they were in an NLCS. And I don't think they're as far away as some of you seem to believe. Now, the Dodgers are an anomaly for sure. Another thing about the lockout, and Andy, a lot of people have asked this, would you give up a year of baseball to fix all of this? My fear, and I don't think enough baseball fans are thinking about this, is my fear is we lose a year of baseball, and it's still not that much better on the other side, which I think is much more likely because owners that want to spend are going to find a way to spend, and owners that want to be cheap are going to find a way to be cheap. And I don't know that there's some magical panacea that's going to be found amidst a year without baseball. So that's my 2 cents on the thing. I think the Brewers playing this way are perfectly capable of breaking through. They've played badly in big games. I don't think that's because they're a bad team or because they're not paying Freddie Peralta. Let's take a call here. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Ridge Runner Mark, how are we doing?
Good evening, Ridge Runner. I got to get to you in one person, so give me about 2 minutes. Give me your best stuff here.
All right, so here's the whole deal with the lockout and the MLB and the Brewers always being the small market team. Nothing's really going to change until the league, and I'm not pointing to any one team or any one general manager or the commissioner or anything, until the league decides collectively they want to focus on competitive balance and not how many people can we get watching the World Series.
Sure.
Because the league is going to say, well, if we have a New York team and an LA team, man, we're just going to rake in the TV money, as opposed to let's put the best team in here. And right now, big picture, they don't care about that. They don't care about the best team. They care about how much money can we make, how many people can we get watching, and the quote-unquote larger market is where that's going to happen. And so, yeah, there'll be a lockout. They'll maybe pay some lip service to a floor where all teams have to spend a minimum, which is part of the problem of the teams that don't want to spend money. They just want to make their money, and they don't care about a competitive team. And start with that. It's an incremental improvement, and then worry about how do we get a salary cap or how do we get a competitive balance where the Dodgers can't or are decentivized to spend $1 billion on their crew when not every team can do that.
I just, and it's a good call, Ridge Runner. I love all these perspectives. I'm just not willing to sacrifice the season of baseball for an incremental improvement. The game's been great. The World Series has been awesome. We've had great playoff series. The game feels like it's in an awesome spot right now. The economics of the game, not so much. But I don't think that's going to be magically fixed with a lockout like so many people seem to believe. One more, and then we're going to take a break, talk with Zach and Ebo. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Grant, Jeremy, how are you?
Hey, Jeremy, what's up?
Hey, not too much. Real quick. So, to this point, if the Brewers just sold their rights to their TV rights, their media rights to Major League Baseball, and Manfred has been talking about that. Do you think that if his goal is to get everybody to do that, and I think that's going to grow the sport. I agree with you. The quality of baseball is great. I don't think sacrificing a year is worth it at all. I want to watch baseball.
I do too. And if you, I was around in the 90s, Jeremy, but everyone says the last lockout, baseball lost me. Well, I don't want that to happen.
Right. We're actually getting to a good place with baseball, and we're picking up new viewers. What better way to do that than getting people more access? If you can go to one place, if you can go to MLB.com, whatever, and you can pick the package you want, and you can get the games you want, and see all the baseball you want without having to have 10 different streaming service subscriptions, I think that's magical. I think that's probably the best way to do it. And if you have revenue sharing with that, it kind of solves the financial problem a little bit. I think that if you couple that with a salary floor, that would force the cheap teams to say, hey, now we can't just collect that money and sit on it. We actually have to spend it.
So I agree with all of this. Everyone is saying the words salary cap and salary floor like that's going to be a magical fix to all of this. And I don't doubt that it would help. It would help on some level. I just have no illusions of a year without baseball, and then we come back and all of a sudden the Dodgers and the Brewers are spending the same on payroll. I just don't think that world exists. Well, I'd give up a year to get – well, I don't want to give up a year if what's on the other side isn't going to be remotely worth it, and I don't think it will be. Let's take a break. We'll connect with Zach and Ebo, Thorson and Heilprin, standing by at Monks and Sun Prairie, over where Andy is. Maybe I'll see Andy. I'm going to go to Monks right after the show. We'll wrap up, talk with those two great friends and coworkers. I was going to call them knobs endearingly, but I want to make sure there's no confusion going into the segment that, man, I love them both, and I can't wait to talk with them, and I won't use anything other than their God-given names, Zach and Ebo. I love them both. We'll talk next.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
With Pella, you get so much more than stunning windows and doors. You get the Pella experience. Pella manufactures, sells, installs, and services every product. And with a 10-year labor warranty, your windows and doors are worry-free for years to come. If something goes wrong, we're here to handle it because you work with the same team from start to finish.
Right now, get 0% interest for up to 48 months.
Visit PellaWI.com today.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Shakedown Street for Fish, it's going to be slow moving, but a bunch of guys tripping balls and asking you for money. The question is, where is it going to be? I don't know. It will happen. I'm telling you, it will happen.
Parking lot along the tracks is private property.
Do you think they care about that, RJ?
No, I know they don't. But like,
we're on stolen land, RJ. Well, they don't care. They're going to post up right there. Like you say, no one is illegal selling nitrous balloons on stolen land. Okay. Karma.
That moment, Ebo and RJ this morning, breaking news to me that Fish is coming to Madison this summer. It's not illegal to sell nitrous balloons on stolen land. Tonight, are we going to do some drinking on stolen land? I think I might be. I'm going to head to Monks and Sun Prairie after the show for Thorson and Halpern. Zach and Ebo standing by. Good evening, gentlemen.
I just want to acknowledge that I am on stolen land right now, drinking a beer with Zach Halpern. So a stolen land acknowledgement, Zach. Cheers.
So
cheers.
The meme is no one is drunk driving on stolen land. You know, that's the explanation of the officer. I want to throw the Doug Gottlieb if I ever get pulled over. Officer, I did not curse. I was not demonstrative. I did not leave my box.
No.
I want to hit him with that.
Well, your license will get suspended for at least a day.
Just a day.
If that happens.
Just a day.
What's on the docket at Monks tonight, by the way, gentlemen?
Well, we've created a million Doug Gottliebs. We are Doug Gottlieb.
We
are. Like, have you heard the "We Are Charlie Kirk" song?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No.
Don't act like you
This
have.
is in my Spotify Wrapped.
I have not.
I'm gonna do a new version, AI generated, obviously, of "We Are Doug Gottlieb," but in the "We Are Charlie Kirk" style.
I like it. I was thinking like the Penn State "We Are" chant, but that's different.
That's different.
Okay.
Or the we are Fox Sports.
We are.
That's different too.
Doug Gottlieb. We are. Doug Gottlieb.
The suspension was kind of BS. It did not seem suspension worthy.
Well, did you hear the audio come out that what Doug Gottlieb said to the ref?
Said He said exactly what he said in the press conference.
Yep. Well, not. He didn't say the obscenities. He just said it was the same play.
That's what I'm saying. Like he said what he said on the floor in the press conference.
He did not curse. He was
swear.
not demonstrative. He did not leave his box.
Sounds like the Horizon League has gone woke.
Yep. Thank you.
The woke league.
Done
the
for.
woke league.
Yep. Exactly.
That's not even a play on words there.
It doesn't have to be.
That's
Zero
play on words.
Does the woke ever make any sense? They don't. So it doesn't need to make sense. The woke league.
Grant, we missed you earlier tonight.
Zach's moving on.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get to the next thing. We missed you earlier tonight, but you're going to be here tonight, though, right?
You're such a prick. By the way, you're leaving the building today. Like Ebo and I might pregame before Monks. Do you want to come out with us before the show? You want to join us? Like Ebo, that triggered me.
Grant, was that not an invite?
Grant,
can I ask you
was that not an invite?
Grant, can I ask you a personal question?
It's not like you haven't called in your show before and just like recorded
it's not Friday.
When I have somewhere to go and something to do.
I literally offered you something to do and somewhere to go, and now you're getting upset.
Grant, can I ask you a personal question?
Yes, Ebo, I'd love that.
Do you think that I'm loud, like in public? Am I loud?
We've done this. Yes, you are. We've done this before. Yes.
Thank you.
I don't believe so. I must be going deaf because Zach said there was a couple at the bar that was staring at me, pointing and talking behind a napkin because I was talking too loud about the cabal. I think or ball or Moloch.
There were some things being said.
Or Jeffrey Epstein winning the Powerball.
There were some things being said. I had no problem with it, but he was very loud talking about it. I feel like these people are just trying to enjoy their drinks. And so, yes, they were looking back at him or looking straight at him. This guy put up his napkin over his face. It was like having a conversation.
I don't believe this happened.
He was having a conversation with the woman that he was kissing.
Terrible eyebrows, by the way, in the woman. Terrible eyebrows.
Either way, like I feel
they look like Goku's Kamehameha.
I don't know what that is, but like that is, yeah.
That should be Krillin.
Either way,
Goku.
And so I was like, Ebo, these people are talking about you. And he did nothing. He just walked out of the bar. He's like, I don't want to get.
Well, Zach wouldn't tell me until we left. Yeah. Otherwise, I would have confronted them.
That's why he didn't tell you.
You would have Grant Billsed him. It would have been, yeah.
Excuse me.
The woman's eyebrows were terrible. It's like her eyebrows from like 1994. We need to update the eyebrows a little bit, okay? I would have said that too.
Can I just say something that blows me away? I've been to 2 concerts with Ebo. He was shushed at both. And came away from both concerts being like, can you believe that guy? That guy had the nerve to shush me. And I'm like, yeah.
He was in our box.
No, okay, well, that's not the point.
Speaking of
that's
your
my
box.
box.
Speaking of your box.
And he was lucky to be there.
Grant,
and by the way, the same song was going for 13 minutes.
Grant, I know we're coming up against top of the hour.
30 seconds.
But we ran into yeah, all right. Well, then I won't tell.
No, go.
Grant, I can't wait to go to Grant, I can't wait to get shushed at Fish with you.
There's a story that we need to tell. We'll tell after the top of the hour that we just experienced. Where were we at before this? Somebody that was in a box next to Ebo a
stalker. I had a stalker
at the Sylvie.
I had a stalker
who walked into the bar that we were at and
loved
said,
my boisterous.
Aren't you? And he called him his gym buddy. And Ebo had never seen him before in his life.
Yeah, he probably heard Ebo long before he saw him.
There you go. But
I do have to go.
So that is a story.
All right, we love you, Grant.
I love you both. I look forward to listening. I'll see you in a bit at Monks and Sun Prairie.
Can't wait.
Your beer. Love.
Have a good show. Talk to you rest of you tomorrow.